Right, good morning. How you doing, everybody? Let me know how you're doing in the comments. We're going to have a quick look at this GNL bass. This is a Kiloton, a tribute one though, right? So the Kiloton is it's their kind of Stingray-alike kind of thing. You got big humbucker in exactly the right place. Must measure it, but it looks right, like 79 centimeters from the nut to the center of the pickup is what a Stingray is. Big humbucker, and you got a couple of selections. So you got single coil, parallel, which is what a Stingray is, and then you got series with this little toggler thing. So series, as I understand it, is one coil and then linked into the next coil, like kind of one after the other. Parallels the two of them together, and single coil is one of them. I'm not sure which it is. We'll figure it out. Anyway, it's got volume and tone. It's a passive instrument, but it's super, super loud. So don't let the fact that it's passive put you off. I've had American GNLs, and this is every bit as good. Honestly, it's just so well made. There's nothing wrong with the fit and finish whatsoever, like nowhere. The guy I bought it off had put a thumb rest there. Genius idea. In other words, make two holes in your bass. I don't know. Wouldn't be for me. This bridge, dirty great big. I'll see, can I get a bit of a close up of it, right? So these saddles, they lock in from the side on some of them. Does it happen on this one? Yep. So do you see that little, hang on, that little doohickey there? That is an Allen key thing. You put your saddles where you want it and you lock it with that. Now, I don't understand why you need to do that because they're not really going anywhere. And if you take this bridge off, there's a big bottom part of the bridge that sits right into the body, hooks into the body. It's supposed to, transmit the vibration of the strings into the body. I don't know. But I do like a good chunky bridge for the reason that it offsets the neck dive from a traditional Fender style headstock with big elephant ear tuners, clover, whatever they call them, the big tuners. I like a big chunky bridge. I like a big chunky bridge because say on some of the cheaper jazz basses and things, you could do that. You could move it around and it'd be clicking up and down and drive me mental. So let's go through some sounds. I really like this thing, I have to say. That fretboard is cherry, I think, but it looks like rosewood. It's, we got this CITES thing now where you have to have sustainable woods and things. Here's the back, and a nice bit of maple there. Like this one's 2019 by the serial number, I think. If you get a chance to get one, I didn't pay mad money for it, but they're about $6.99 new in euros on Thomann. Here you go, and you get a good solid bass. So it's their idea of a Stingray without the bulk of a Stingray, which I find actually a bit problematic. It's a much smaller thing. This is their SB series body, so they do an SB1, an SB2 with a jazz pickup and a precision pickup. That one has the same, just two controls, so it doesn't have a tone. But given that the tone doesn't do much on this anyway, because these MFD humbuckers are very pokey, and I don't know what the story is with the value of this tone pot, but you'll hear it. It doesn't do a huge amount, but let's run through some sounds, okay? Alrighty, well, let's do some sounds, okay? I don't know what I said earlier, but we have this switch goes, so all the way back is parallel, like this thing, right? And then in the middle appears to be split coil with the neck side roll coils on. Which kind of like more precision-y than jazz, which would be back there, wouldn't it? And then that is series, right? So I'm going to start at the back, which is, the sound you all know and love, isn't it? So I'm going to turn off the mic. Let's see. We'll do tone on and tone off, okay? Okay, now with the tone halfway up, all right? Halfway off, yeah. Halfway up. It depends on your perspective in life, right? So halfway. All right, now with the tone all the way off, this gets really weird, I think. It's a really odd sound. So, tone all the way off. All right, it's interesting, isn't it, with the tone off? It doesn't do what I would imagine a standard tone control would do, so I'd like to know what the settings in that are. Let's move on. We're going to do the middle, which is like single coil with the neck roll pickups on, I think. Okay, now let's do the switch in the middle position. Right, I hate doing things like that by a mirror. You're looking at yourself on the screen. Switch in the middle position, which is this front row coils on, allegedly. It might not be, but either way, we're going to do the switch in the middle position, right? So we're going to go tone open, and I'll go through the same kind of nonsense I've been playing. So just turn the mic off. Hold on. All right, now with the tone half off, I'll find a halfway spot there somewhere. Right there. All right, and now with the tone completely off. All right, and one more thing I have to do, forgot to do, is with a pick. See what we have here. Okay. See, I have a teenage son who now plays guitar. So I have to hide guitar picks because he steals them. That's teenagers for you. Right, so we'll go back one actually, just to the kind of parallel Stingray supposed setting. Okay, hold on. And so at the back with the tone halfway. Okay, and with the tone all the way off. Okay, interestingly for me, I think when you go all the way off, there's something else happens. It's like it gets really kind of peaked in the middle. I don't think you need to go all the way back. Like, so, I'll just put down this pick for a sec. So from like all the way up, and now you're hearing the mic halfway. And I would take that out just by rolling it slightly forward on the tone. Watch, hang on. So there's your, you roll that forward. There you go. So it's not all the way back. We give you that classic. Now I know you're hearing a lot of string noise. It's actually this humbucker to a certain degree, because when you have the tone roll off of it, you don't get as much of it. Okay, so let's do the middle, which is this front row coils, with the pick, tone full on, tone halfway off, tone all the way off, and I'll actually roll it back the way we've just done there to give you a more kind of realistic idea as well. Hold on. with the tone halfway off. Go there. All right, and all the way off. Yeah, it's a weird underwatery kind of sound. I don't think you need to go back that far. So what we'll do is roll forward just a little bit. So about a quarter way on, right, or 3/4 of the way off, depending on which way you want to look at things. Just go quarter way on. And I think we're going to get that sound we're used to with the tone off. I think going all the way back does something else. Hold on. And so on. That's a much more pleasant sound. Right, let's go to series mode, right? It's kind of super pokey. There's some other details I want to go over with this guitar, but let's get this. Alrighty, so let's do the series mode, which is both of the coils on, but one after the other, I think. I think that's the way it works. All I know is that I never use it. I never used it on the L2000 or the 2500, or I just find it too pokey, you know, and these MFD pickups are super hot. So I just found it a bit too much, and I like that kind of the parallel sound. But let's do this anyway. We'll do a tone open first. Pick on that setting, hold on. I quite like that setting with the pick. Actually, it helps the pick cut through. So now I appear to have discovered the purpose of the series mode. So if you can imagine yourself, I've gigged this lots actually. and everyone in the band, I did a lot of standing in with it, different bands, and everyone in the band was very impressed at the tone. I was going, what is that thing? Because it really does cut. The setting I used was parallel with the tone almost all the way on, just rolled off just a touch, but not even a quarter, but just took some of that high end off it, and it really, to say it sat in a mix well is a kind of cliche, isn't what it really did. Okay, let's do tone halfway off. Okay, I'm finally with the tone. Well, we won't do finally. We did a tone all the way off and that weird underwater sound, and then back on a quarter to give us a reasonable tone sound. So let's do that. Actually, that kind of works as well for some things. I can picture where that would work, to to occupy a space in a certain type of band with lots of top end. You carve out this this fundamental for yourself with that sound. Okay, let's roll the tone back on a little bit, about a quarter, and this again gives us this classic tone off control without the extra, okay? There's some of the sounds anyway, right? So we'll do a bit of a conclusion now, okay? Alrighty, so what's my take on this thing? I think it's really a fantastic bass. It's a fantastic bass. I wouldn't be mad about that tone control at its end of travel, but I rarely play with the tone control off anyway. And I would say that the build quality on these is as good as the American ones I've had. I can't find anything wrong with it. Nothing. There's literally nothing wrong with it. Nowhere. And it's good quality materials. The electronics allegedly are American. They're not the same kind of electronics that they have in their American ones. They are the electronics they have in their American ones. These MFT humbuckers are good and pokey, big, ballsy, high definition kind of sound from them. You can adjust these pole pieces, which I found annoying on other basses. So if you find these are too high or too low, you can stick an Allen key in there and bring it up or down. Now, we've all heard the quiet G thing about Stingrays. I used to believe in it. I'm not so sure now, though I have had the instruments that did it, but I think it was an EQ setting. I think it was my fault largely. Maybe. And then you look and you see sometimes the way those... on a Stingray, sometimes the G string can cross that pole piece like that off center or down there or whatever. I don't know now at this point. The last one I had didn't have it. You've seen that actually on the channel, that instrument. Okay, so moving on. So I love these MFD humbuckers. I really do. And I never use the neck one on the L2000 so much, except when I had them both on, do you know what I mean? But I never use the neck one on its own. I really like that sound for a live setting, to be able to get in and play and occupy your space, cut through everything, and have even string balance, all the strings be balanced, not too heavy, looks good, it's white, it stands out. This one's white, they come in a root beer kind of colour as well, with a tortoiseshell kind of thing. I like this colour better. Be cool to have the two actually and switch the pick guards, wouldn't it? Because I think the Tort pick guard look great on this. Anyway, moving on to the bridge. I'll see can I get in. Right, so if you can have a look, this whole bridge is so solid and reassuring feeling, right? So what happens is when you set your intonation, get it all right. There's a wee Allen screw. I'll try to get it there. Do you see that? Hang on, that thing there. And you lock that in with your Allen key, and therefore when you take off strings, nothing moves anyway. Now, nothing moves anyway, right? It's really solid. Like I've had, Fender style instruments and Fenders where you do that and all the saddles move left and right. It's really irritating. This is just super solid. As well as that, the way this bridge is done, okay, is it's not just screwed onto the body. Under that, if you were to take that bridge off, it has a kind of big section on it like that. Big chunk of metal that sits right into the body of the guitar, kind of hooks under a little bit. It's meant to transmit the vibrations of the strings into the body. I don't know about that. Don't know if that actually works. But I can tell you, it's a very reassuring big chunk of metal. I forgot I moved in that you can't see it. Big chunk of metal. But the main reason I like it, aside from that, the second main reason, is because it, a chunky bridge helps counteract neck dive. If you had a really light bridge on something like this and these elephant ear tuners, you get a little bit of that, but you don't. The neck is not a classic kind of precision or music band kind of big chunky profile. It's more like a jazz actually, but not quite as narrow as a jazz. Again, someone will correct me on the specs, but to my hand now, kind of there's good depth to it, not too much, and it's not too narrow, but it's not a big neck. So I don't know, it could be 38 mil, it could be jazz spec, but you know, some jazz basses feel even narrow this way. It's not, it's actually a beautiful neck. Yeah. Now the way I play it, as I say, is I have it all the way back, which is parallel, and this off a little bit, so it's obviously without the mic picking up all that string rattle, you know. So in short, I have to say, I think for the bread, when you consider that these are cheaper than Mexican Fenders, are they? Well, they're around the same, let's say, because I don't know those things up and down. No, they are. They're cheaper. This is $599, $699, is it? That kind of money. And as far as I know, Mexican jazz is what, €800, something like that. Anyway, slightly cheaper. And it's just a much better built instrument. And I recommend you get one if you're interested in this kind of thing. You won't go wrong. Is it a Stingray killer? It's a different sound, because a lot of the magic of a Stingray is actually that preamp. So I might do it one day where I try get the same sound out of this as a Stingray. But I know as I even start that I won't, because these MFD humbuckers are really, really pokey in the mid-range, and to the point where, you know, it's very easy to distort amps and things, which you don't really get with a Stingray. It's not quite the same. But let's, for pig iron, hold on, if I put a bit of bass on here, okay? That's driving the shit out of everything. I've turned it down, wait a sec. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see could you do it anyway, but why would you want to? It's its own thing, and just the humbucker being in that place get you an awful lot of the way to what something like a Stingray does in a band context, and then you can EQ it up yourself with your amp and all that kind of thing. So there you go, G&L Tribute Kiloton bass. Well, look at the grain in the headstock, isn't that lovely? So yeah, well made, great sound, and great versatile bass. If you think about it, you have 3 settings from one humbucker, and each of those 3 settings, even if in its most basic form, you have, say, treble full on, treble half on, volume, you know, the tone off, tone half on, tone full on. In its rawest form, you have 9 sounds there, you know, from one pickup. There's not a lot wrong with that, you know, and you'll only find one maybe that works for you, but you will find one that works for you. So yeah, hats off to the good people at G&L for this. When I say hats off to the people at G&L, doesn't mean that they know anything about me, or that they gave me a bass, because they didn't. I'm just saying that in terms of build quality, that's a beautiful thing. All right, good luck. Catch you again.